We've done truck steps before on Performance TV, but not electric folding ones. Nor have we built a sheet metal body for a race car. And definitely not laughing gas on a hog. But we're doing it all next.
Welcome to another edition of Performance TV. You know, nitrous is not just for the four-wheel type of vehicles. How about some two-wheel stuff?
I got Jim Athley here from Boss Noss Nitrous Systems. You brought us a nitrous system today. We're going to put on this Harley Davidson, but what all do you make them for?
We do nitrous systems for Harleys, obviously, and all of the recreational vehicle world.
Four-wheelers?
Snowmobiles?
Snowmobiles, watercraft.
So you got anything to two wheels, to a track, to everything. Not just necessarily cars, but anything you want to throw nitrous on, make a little more horsepower.
Exactly.
Well, tell us a little bit about your system here. This is the control module for this. This is something unique, right?
This is something new to the nitrous industry. This box, we call this the Smart Box. This is the world's first liquid nitrous pressure regulator.
Now, how is that different than how other nitrous systems work?
There is no other pressure regulator out there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if you don't have a pressure regulator, it's really difficult to control the pressure
of the nitrous spray.
Exactly.
Okay, and then you have to put fuel with it. So you've got a nozzle system here. Tell us about your nozzle system.
Now, this is another first in the industry. This is a fuel valve, a nitrous injector, a mix head, all in one part.
Well, you condense, what, 2 or 3 things down into one piece?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's an awful small piece.
How does that work?
On the bottom here is where we hook the fuel in, and on the top here is where we hook the nitrous in.
Okay.
When the nitrous comes down the nitrous line to go into the injector, there's a little piston on the inside of that, and when the nitrous hits it, it pressurizes that piston and opens it, and when it opens, the fuel is sitting right at the gate here ready to go.
Oh, so then the nitrous comes in, pulls the fuel with it, and both of them go into the engine.
Yeah, there's 16 inches of mercury vacuum that holds that fuel.
And what I like here is that you got an assortment of nozzles. You want 10 horsepower, 15, 20, 25, 30. You've got a nozzle you can change in here and up the horsepower percentage every time just by changing the nozzle.
But I'm only seeing one set of nozzles. Normally when we deal with a nitrous system, we have the nitrous ones and we have the gas. We're changing pills or whatever back and forth. We're only seeing nitrous here. Tell us about that, Jim.
Let me hold this and I'll show you how that works. There's a top on here that spins off, and there's a little spring inside of here. That's what pushes down on that injector. We call it the nozzle. There's different nozzles here, and if we want to change the horsepower, we just pull that nozzle out and slide a new nozzle down inside, put the spring back on.
But you never have to change the one for the gas side.
And spin the cap back on.
That's amazing.
You know how a carburetor works? The more you roll on the throttle, the more fuel it pulls?
Right.
This works the exact same way.
You got kits for all sizes. You got different bottle sizes, the brackets to go on, everything to bolt right on this Harley. This kit's made for this motorcycle, be able to bolt it right on.
It is.
So tell us, Jim, what horsepower one we're going to put on this bike today?
Oh, I think we'll start with a 30 horse.
You know, this Boss Noss system, Tommy, comes with some awesome directions right down to, I mean, you've got your whole map right here on how to lay this all out. Not everybody's as lucky to have Jim along with them to install this. So these directions are going to come in handy, but since you have Jim, I'll let you get going.
We don't need directions, Jim. All right, what's our first step? What are we going to do first? We're going to mount the nozzle, right?
Yep, this is called an NPFI.
All right, we're going to put that in right in the air intake of the carburetor. So let's pull this cover off of here.
Now, there's other intake covers that are different designs. All you need to keep in mind is you have your carburetor or your throttle body. This little nozzle just has to spray right down the throat of the carburetor or throttle body.
It's easy to get it in right through the carburetor. There's no putting nozzles in behind the carburetor or anything like that. We're going to put it right in the carburetor, right through the feed.
Everyone's a little bit different. So we have these little brackets. You can see on this bracket right here, we've kind of bent it on an L shape. These brackets are stainless steel, so you can bend them all different directions. But you just kind of bend it so it fits where you need it to fit.
All right, so we're going to put this right inside here, mount it so it blows right in here, right? All right.
We can set it underneath in here.
Okay.
And then we can bolt it.
All right, bolt it up right in here. Mount the nozzle right there.
It's just spraying straight like that.
We've got our bracket mounted in here. We've just put it on here with 2 little screws, and you can see where the seal for the air cleaner is on the inside of these screws, so that won't affect anything at all. Well,
no, it'd be fine. What we'll probably want to do is put the 2 holes for
our nitrous lines and our gas lines. We're going to put them in here. All right. We're going to run our lines inside the air cleaner here, put our fuel nozzle in there, And while we do that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll finish this thing up.
This edition of Performance TV, presented by Lokar Performance Products, is being brought to you by B&M, America's #1 shifter. And by Exoto Atomic Oil, the right technology at the right time. And by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology.
Welcome back to Performance TV. While we're at break, Jim and I are installing our nitro system. We got the nozzle put in, reinstalled the air cleaner and all that. Then we took the fuel line and we spliced into the main line of the fuel line of the bike, put a little T in, ran our fuel line to our nozzle, and we're good to go. Now it's time to mount the control module. So you were telling me all Harleys come with this little brace right here.
All Harleys are made with this cross-member brace right here so they can mount crash bars on. So we just take advantage of that to mount our smart box on.
Perfect. We'll put this on there. One other thing, you were telling me about the smart box. The way it operates, kind of a neat little deal.
The smart box has a regulator that regulates the flow of the nitrous. So as you are spraying the nitrous into your bike, it has a perfect flow of nitrous that doesn't go up or doesn't go down. That way you can dial your fuel right in side by side.
You were telling me a neat little story about the wiring.
You know, on the other side of the bike there's a horn, and we pull the horn off and we mount a little bracket by the horn. And we put the horn back on, and the wires that turn your horn on and off, we wire into those wires, put a toggle switch. So if you want to honk your horn, you flip the toggle switch up and your horn works all day long. But whenever you want to put the nitrous to the bike, you just flip the switch down. Now your horn becomes your nitrous button. If we could hide the nitrous bottle, we could get away with that a lot easier. Now normally if you would have had the crash bars on here, the system is supplied with a little bracket which will drop that box down underneath using that same mounting.
Yeah, so whether you got the bars or not.
Yeah, it works both ways.
All right, Jim, I got the box on here. Now we need to run our nitrous line from our control box into our nozzle. Where are we going to run that?
Okay, Tom, the best thing to do is keep in mind that these cylinders...
Yeah, I want to keep it away from the engine, keep it away from the heat.
Exactly. Now, you know we run the other line down here, so we're going to zip tie those two together.
Perfect. Run them together, run them over the top here.
Exactly. And we go up under here, there's a rubber bracket that's going to keep this line from touching the motor. There we go.
All right, looking good down there?
Yep, perfect, right there.
All right.
Just right.
I'll take this nut and ferrule off.
Now all we got to do is cut it for the right length and slide it on.
We turn the bike around so you can get a better view of where we're going to hook up all of our electronics and our nitrous line. So we've cut it to length. Now we want to put the nut and ferrule on here, right?
Yeah.
Pre-crimping, I noticed we got a little tool here to pre-crimp it.
Remember how hard it was to get underneath the tank?
Yeah, we had a little difficulty there, yeah.
And if we didn't pre-crimp it, I don't think it would even be possible to get that on. So.
Right, so it makes it so it doesn't fall off while you're trying to get in here in these tight spaces.
Exactly.
So slide that on there. I wonder what that little thing was earlier.
Yeah, little crimp tool.
Yeah, now that'll hold the ferrule on there so it doesn't fall off.
Yep, exactly.
All right, so now,
Just
run it into our nitrous out.
I reach down here, spin this on, and we zip tie it up against the frame so it can't touch anything. All right, let's snip that.
Okay, so here's the wiring. Now, where's all this gonna go? I removed the horn a minute ago here. You said it all plugs in right here, right?
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run this as close to the frame as we can to keep the wires from showing.
Sure.
Bring it up here, another up through here. And then once again, we'll zip tie this up out of the way. And now you'll see these two lines right here. These two lines, one's a positive and one's a negative. And you can see where we have 3 lines going right here. And we have the horn right here. On the horn here, the positive is this yellow one.
Okay.
So we'll take our red line and plug into this yellow line right here. Now what happens is we have this toggle switch. So whichever direction the switch is, it's going to send the power
the other
down
side.
to the other side.
Right, so it would either be our button to the smart box or it'll go to the horn.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
So what we'll want to do is we'll want to bring this back up here and plug it onto the box and take the original.
Oh, I see it's got little 2 pieces there. It's got 2 prongs.
It's got a
One for the original? You bet.
See how that works? And the other side we'll plug right onto this other side here.
Yeah.
And then what we do is we have a little bracket that goes on here for the...
Okay, we'll put the bracket on and mount the switch. Now we got all the electronics. Everything's hooked up. All we gotta do, put some mounts on here.
How about the most important part of all?
That's what I'm doing.
The Go
I'm
Juice
getting-
bottle, okay.
All right, already. So what's kind of cool about this, got some clamps here with some shims for different size bars. We're gonna put this around there, mount the bottle clamp to this, and then slide the bottle in.
That's right, and we also have some pins that go in here as well, so that way you can kind of adjust, you know, the angle of your bottle.
That pretty of a bottle, I want people to see it.
I know, I can't wait to get this all on here and fire this up. You know, when you find out more about all of their systems, and like you heard, they have them for all different types of off-road vehicles and the ATVs and snowmobiles and that type of thing, just hop on their website at bossnos.com. We'll have more of Performance TV coming right up. Welcome back to Performance TV. Tommy, you know you can never have too many tools in the garage, and especially when it comes to race cars and the kind of race cars are going around and maybe getting their body panels beat up. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to build your own?
That would be nice, and I tell you what, we got Scott Boyd here from Boyd Built. How did you get into building sheet metal brakes?
Well, it came real easy. We were racing and we needed a brake.
You kind of reduced the cost for guys so they could afford to put one in their shop, put one in their garage, and hang their own bodies and start bending their own sheet metal, didn't you?
The commercial brakes are just so expensive and they're made with a lot of big cast pieces. We came up with a solution, structural steel. It's cheaper, we can weld it. If something happens to it, you can fix it. The counterweights, same way. Instead of having a big, heavy cast ballast that cost a lot of money to have made to start with, it's just a chunk of metal.
Oh, that's
all it is.
perfect.
It's just weight. Generally, most bodies nowadays are between $2,500 and $3,000 for a complete body. For the same amount of money, you can buy a brake, buy all the metal you need, put your body on, you still have plenty of money left over.
All right. Can't wait to see how it works.
Basically, we're going to start off with most body panels, 45s or 90-degree bends. It's real easy. Put it in, clamp it down, and you just bend it to where you need it. And then you come into some places where you need a little extra strength. You can double lip it. Again, you just put it in, clamp it, roll it all the way up, and take it back down. And then another thing we found over the years is, for years and years, people use the top to clamp it down and mash it flat. You don't have to do that with our brake. Close the top back in, set it up, use the swing to flatten it out.
Oh, that's a nice move, yeah. And then you're not damaging this piece here by doing that.
Not damaging that, it's less stress on the cams, and you actually get a tighter double lip.
Now, what if you want to put a radius on it?
We offer a radius bar, bolts on with 3 bolts. I brought another brake that's
Yeah, we're
already
gonna
set
see it.
up. It's pretty much the same operation. You just slide the top back for your bar, allow for your bend. Now, what I'm going to show here is what I call a Bloomquist roll. We sold a brake to Scott Bloomquist. He showed me how to do this. It makes a real strong radius. It actually radiuses double thickness. You just line your lines up, clamp it down.
Look at that. You need a little strength on the side of the body, somebody leaning on it.
Right,
You got a lot more
right.
strength
You got
there now.
a lot more strength. You can't bend that.
All right.
I mean, even if
Don't hurt yourself there.
Okay, now we've seen you do some samples. We got a TNT race car here, late model. We're gonna make a couple panels for the rear deck. You wanna take some measurements and then we can go bend some panels and show people how easy this is.
no problem.
Hey, Kathy, you ready to help Scott here and I bend up a little sheet metal?
Yeah, I've been studying over here. I think I'm ready to do this whole car up. What do you think? Okay, that may be going a little bit too far, but Scott's going to show us how to get this first panel done.
Okay, first we want to double lip it, like we was talking about earlier. We're doing an 1¼ inch double lip, and then we'll come back with a 1" 90. So we bend it all the way up.
That out. Man, that just makes it so nice and easy to do it that way. Now, how long is this?
This brake is 7'2".
Okay.
Now, how'd you come up with 7'2"?
When we come up with this racer deal to try to save some money, we've got to figuring on measuring of late models, and there's nothing over 7 foot long, so 7'2".
7'2", I like
There
it.
you go.
Yeah,
Why
perfect.
not?
Bend this other one up.
Back here.
There's a lot of things you can make with these brakes. I mean, different panels and everything you can make with sheet metal. These things will do just about everything you need.
If it's sheet metal, there's always a need to be bent, whether it's race car bodies, any kind of race car. Asphalt cars have got interiors. Even Winston Cup cars have got steel interiors. They got to be broke up. Dragsters, interiors, engine compartments. And these other applications would be heating and air.
Oh, yeah.
Vinyl siding, window companies, roofing companies. I mean, you could use a brake for just about anything.
All right, Scott, look at that. I like it. Here, let's take this over there and try it on, see how we did.
You know, it's like using these to build for the cars, and I see this dragster body over here. You could even have one of these. It would be really cool to have it in the shop. If ever had anything happen to the body on my dragster, just make up a new one, and there you go. You can check them out online at boyd-built.com and find out all about these brakes. We'll have more on Performance TV coming up next.
I'm here with Zane Cullen from Cotati Speed Shop. Now, Zane's been around for a long time building custom cars and hot rods. Where did you get your start?
My father had a collision shop and was always in the trade, so I kind of grew up around it. You know, like anything else, probably Hot Wheels had something to do with my insanity.
And you have built some insane rides.
It seems like we never do two cars the same. So each car that we get to work on and create, you know, there's something in that car from you and our crew, and it's a balance of what the customer wants and our style.
Where do you get your ideas from?
I like so many different facets of the industry. I love European styling, domestic styling, you know, cars from all eras. So I have kind of two standards. And first and foremost is always the quality in which and how we built it. And the second thing is that our goal is always to try to create a vehicle that if you see it 10 years from now, it still kind of throws you back like, you know, man, that's a great looking car. Not something built for right now, but kind of something built forever. It's been a fun ride so far. I know it's going to be getting even better, but you know, just working with people and being able to translate their ideas and morph that into our styling and our look, it's been a lot of fun.
Well, he's one of the most diverse car builders I know. He's Zane Cullen, and this is his car life.
This edition of Performance TV, presented by Low Car Performance Products, is being brought to you by Corgi, the revolution in 3D wheel aligner technology. And by Anzo USA, don't get left in the dark. And by Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. This week's ARP quarter-mile quiz question comes from Bob in Kentucky. Bob asks, with the price of gas going up, how has this affected the price of nitromethane?
It really doesn't affect the price of nitromethane. Nitromethane isn't made the same way as gasoline would be, and the only time we've ever seen really a price increase maybe when there's a supply shortage, when we have a hard time getting it. But on a day-to-day basis, you know, with the price of oil going up, well, nitromethane isn't really made from oil, so we don't see that price go up. It still is around $30 a gallon for nitromethane, and we've seen that go up. We've seen it come down to $20 to $35, but most of that depends on the supply, not the production of it.
If you have a question for the ARP Quarter Mile Quiz, send it to the address on your screen. If we use your question on the air, you'll receive an ARP Quarter Mile Quiz shirt.
Welcome back to Performance TV. Kathy, we put on some running boards on pickups before. They're cool. They added to the look of the vehicle.
Certainly.
But we haven't put on running boards that are electric. When you open the door, these things move out. So unsightly? No, because when you're going down the road, they're up tucked underneath the truck.
Right.
When you open the door, out they come.
I like that. And these from Bestop are motorized and they're lit up too.
Yes, and what's really cool about this set we've got today, they're remote. No wiring has to go into the door jambs.
No cutting, no splicing into the wiring harness, no ripping the door panels off.
It's got wireless remote sensors, so it knows when you open the door. No wiring to them, all wireless. I like that.
And this is going to take a lot less time to install than maybe other ones. The PowerBoard NX, like I said, we've got the lights on it. We've got 6 1/4 inch step here. Going to be nice. You don't have to worry about slipping on it.
That.
And I think it's really nice. Like I said, we don't have to cut into
heavy duty brackets here to mount these.
Up to 600 pounds. You can step on these. They're going to work no matter if you open up the driver door, the passenger door, the rear doors. We've got all the magnets, everything. Let's get started on installing them.
All right, let's get these things on. Well, first step is we got to knock this little plug out and install this clip in here that has a nut welded on the backside so we can bolt in. We're going to use this existing hole in the body and run our bolt through this hole into the block. I'm not going to have to over tighten these because we want them to have some adjustment when we get done.
Now it's time to go ahead and stick the running board up on top.
Got a little aluminum piece here inside the track. That's kind of nice so we don't have to fish blindly for a nut inside.
You get your 2 bolts put through. Now we'll get ready to stick the motor on.
All right, the motor spline, she's got to go in here like a gear. So we're going to put the motor in there, inside that gear. All right, those are lined up. Now we'll just put the 3 bolts in. We get the wiring harness all done. All we got to do is plug it in. Next thing we need to do is install the LED lights that come with this. Pretty simple. Just got an adhesive back. Peel that off. We've wiped a little alcohol on there to make sure we got a good contact, and stick it in place. We'll round this wiring up here when we get our harness all in and plug it in.
Hey, Tommy, I thought you said this thing was wireless.
Well, it is. It's wirelessly controlled.
Okay.
But you still have to have power to the electric motors. It comes with a really nice wiring harness system here. Since this vehicle's got the battery on the passenger side, it's got a long and a short side to the wiring harness to run down the fender wells. What's really nice is it looks like factory wiring harness. We're going to attach it to this other factory wiring harness. You'll never even know it's there. So let me run this long side over to you.
You get the short one.
Just tuck it down in the fender well. We'll go down underneath where the frame is, and we'll zip tie this up here. You want to make sure you remove the fuse before you install it to the wiring to the battery. We got a positive and a negative. It's going to be pretty simple. We've got a little nut here on our battery post. We'll remove that nut, put the wiring on, put the nuts back on. We're ready to go. Then all we got to do is mount this control module, plug it into our harness. We're going to zip tie it right here to this post. Comes with all the zip ties, and this is what controls the whole system.
All right, run the wiring harness down the driver's side of the vehicle, and first we're going to connect our light. Okay, we'll get that zip tied up there. Now the next thing we want to do on down the line is get our controller mounted. This one is only on this side of the truck. And our last plug-in at the end, our motor.
All right, now we've got all the wiring harness, everything done, everything's been plugged in, ready to install the sensors so it knows when you open the door to extend the running board. Now, we've learned a couple tricks here. We put a piece of duct tape on here and stuck our sensor up there just so we can find placement. On many vehicles, it varies how you got to get the magnet close enough to the sensor to make the running board work. Now, this is an extended cab truck, not a crew cab. So we had to find a place without the post right here to mount the sensor.
All right, Tommy, how you coming over here? Got my side done?
I got everything in place. Before I pull that backing off and stick it permanently, I want to give it one more test run.
All righty. And there it goes. You want to find out more about this and other products, just go to beststop.com. And Tommy, that's all we got time for this week.
Well, we'll see you next week with more Performance TV.